Kishori and Karishma, did you think a skateboard would take you out of the Amazing Race?
That's funny. No, I really
No.
didn't. I didn't think about it. Now I have trauma with skateboards. Every time I see one, it is triggering for me, but I did not think we would go out with a skateboard.
What about you, Kishori?
I didn't either, if I'm being honest, because Karishma grew up skateboarding, so like I did have faith in her, but you just really don't know what curveballs are gonna be thrown your way.
We
Goodness.
we've had
Maybe a bike.
several, yeah, we've had several teams getting tricked by the roadblock clue, thinking it was something.
Oh
But you
yeah,
guys were so close to thinking it was building a skateboard too.
Yeah,
I
Kishori even
know.
said it, and it's
I said
insane.
it
Like,
and I hesitated because I was like, well, what if it's building, but also what if it's not building and it's riding it? And I was just scared I would fall, like fall flat on my head if it was riding the skateboard.
yeah, and I was just so excited. I was like, "Oh, I can skateboard. This is something I'm good at." I knew like going in, I was like, "I'm not good at bike riding." If I'm like, maybe a bike would have taken me out. Now that I think about your question, yes, maybe a bike would have taken me out, but not a skateboard because
Yeah.
Kishori's really good at biking. And I before we left for the race, she was trying to teach me how to ride a bike because I'm really bad at riding a bike. So yeah, that would have been more predictable than a skateboard, but yeah, goodness gracious.
So how long were you there for?
That is a good question. I think I was there, like from my point of view, I think I was there for maybe 2.5 hours. That's probably where I was thinking because I know the 4 hours has been tossed around, but I really don't think it was that long because I think a lot of the teams that have been checked in and Phil would have probably had to get us if it was that long. I think it maybe took me 2.5 hours, maybe three max, but I really don't think it was 4 hours because at that point we could have just taken the penalty.
That's true. Well, which one was worse, this or the map task last week?
I think the map task was worse for me. Just because it was so like because it was in the heat and there's so much memorization running back and forth. I don't even know. I really want to know how many miles I ran after that because I was running a lot to memorize and just getting oriented with the map. The only thing that really was frustrating with the skateboard challenge was I just didn't know how to get the little bolt out when I was disassembling it because I had assembled it wrong the first time. And so if I just knew that one thing about that tool, I think I would have knocked it out way faster. So I would say the map portion was harder. It was just like one little thing I couldn't get on the skateboard challenge that was more challenging.
So how did you get the bolt stuck in the wrench? Do you just slam it down too hard?
No, so like whenever you're taking, because I had to take apart the skateboard because I think my like you know how they were showing that some people had it shifted back wrong. I did that, and so in order to fix that, I had to take it out. And so when I was taking it out, it would just get lodged in there, and I didn't know. I never used that tool before. I never used tools, and I didn't know that there was a normal way to get it out. And so I remember I was just like slamming it, trying to like get it out, and I just couldn't figure it out. And then finally I saw another tool in it and I like stuck it in there and then I was able to get it out and then I was good to go.
Mm. Kishori, what were you thinking? We saw some of your comments on the side waiting. Like you wish you could tell her what to do.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it's hard because like you get a penalty if you say something, but I knew she was trying her best and it was really hot that day and there was no shade and she was dehydrated. And I was just like, at this point, like the only thing I can do is give her encouragement. So, you just really don't know what the roadblock is going to be and you just have to hope for the best.
Mm. How quickly do you think you would have done the roadblock?
I mean, I obviously like
She would have done it fast because Shore's good at building things. That was
I like
so up
building
her
things.
she loves
I
it.
built
She
like
loves
my
building things.
furniture in my room, but again, like you don't know. Like it could have been something that I also got tripped up on, but like I built my dresser, I built my nightstand, I built my like bookshelf.
And I always opt in on like pre-built. Like I'll pay the extra fee. Pre-built
Yeah,
it
yeah.
whenever I buy
Ship and
furniture.
build, yeah.
Exactly. It's just I know that's not my thing. I know that's not my strength. So yeah, this was such a Kishori task that I took on.
Mhm.
That's okay. You don't know. You never
You don't
know.
know, yeah. I love your comment about how it was deja vu again with the firefighters passing you. Like, they came in so late and they just crushed it and just left you in the dust.
Yeah, the
Well,
firefighters, I felt like they had so many secret skills. Like I remember like Sunny
Yeah.
saying she was like a helicopter. I'm like, I had no idea she had any of these strengths, but they're also firefighters, so they're super handy. They're physically like they know a lot of the things that weren't, they had a lot of the strengths that just weren't my strengths. So it made sense for her to come in, build this skateboard, and just like run out so fast. And then how Sunny was like the landscape, like just random
So
skills. I'm like,
random.
and I was waiting. I was like, when is it going to be my turn when my crazy skills coming in? Like, when are we going to skydive? When are they going to ask me to pack a parachute? When are we going to climb or rappel something? I was like, these are the things I'm good at. Like, when is my turn? But we never got there.
They were trying to give it to you this time with building the skateboard. You just chose the wrong person.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen like for several legs now, like some teams have been working together and helping each other. So did that cross your minds at all? Like especially, after last week, the map too, because you and Michelle and Sean could have worked together too, especially when you saw the firefighters come in. So did you guys think about that?
We actually had alliances. So Derek and Shalisa are probably our closest alliance, and Karishma actually worked with Shalisa at the puzzle challenge in last episode, but they didn't show that. But like they worked really well together. And when Shalisa had gotten the check, Shalisa was actually crying because she was calling out for Karishma, like for them to like work together, and they ended up closing the blind right as Karishma was running up. So like Shalisa was super emotional about that she wasn't able to like in those
Help me
last
out.
moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we were super close the entire race.
We're
Like,
working
they're probably our closest alliance, like Kishori was saying. Yeah. So when I was running back and forth, we were checking our puzzles going back and forth. But what we didn't know, and this is probably why they didn't show us, our puzzles were opposite. So if you were on the front end, you had a different puzzle than the person on the other side. But we worked together the entire time, and we were memorizing, tag teaming it together. And I was just running, memorizing when she called me out. And then also, in Chile, I worked with Derek. He was helping me build the skateboard, and he was showing me what like the tools were, and that's how I knew how in the first place to like do the tools. I had no idea. And he got his check, and so did Melissa. And as I was finishing mine, there was something wrong. So they had left before I had a chance to like fix my little thing that was wrong. And so I couldn't ask Derek, like, oh, how do I get this screw out? They had left before then because they had gotten their checks before me, but we were working together throughout the whole thing. We were going back and forth, bouncing off each other. So we had a lot of team collaboration
Yeah.
throughout the season. I just don't think it was shown as much.
Yeah, for sure. And like that's just like a timing thing if they left before you. So, and
Yeah.
they're obviously not going to wait for you.
Yeah.
We saw in the beginning of the lake too, you had trouble driving stick. So how much time did you lose there just trying to get it in gear?
Yeah, I really don't think we lost too much time with stick. That was probably the least of our worries that day,
Please.
100%.
Yeah.
I think it was just I got tripped up at the beginning when I was going in because it was a Volkswagen stick shift, so it's different than what I was learning on just because the gears are placed different. So I had the car in second gear. I couldn't get it into first because just the Volkswagen car is different. And I even talked to James about this. James said he had the same exact issue on his season when he was driving a Volkswagen as well. He was like, I had the same problem because we were put in a different kind of stick shift car. But I would say I kind of figured it out fairly quick. I think I had stick shift stage fright. That's what I call it. Because it had been a minute since I was practicing at home before I got, we went through Mexico, we went through Colombia, went through another city in Colombia. Like we had done so many challenges before. Okay, now it's time to drive stick. And I was like, shoot, I'm a little rusty because I was practicing every day. I really was putting in the hours, taking
Yeah, you were.
lessons, driving my friend's car. And I knew I was confident in my stick shift abilities. Like I wouldn't say I wasn't Angie who had been driving sticks and she grew up doing that, and other contestants who maybe had a little more practice with the stick shift, because I really did have to learn from scratch as soon as we got the call and they're like, okay, you're going on the race. I had about a couple weeks time to really get in my lessons and prep as much as I could. And it's not easy finding a stick shift car wherever you are. They're like not around these days.
No, it's
So
like mostly automatics now. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I called everywhere. I called rental car places. I was gonna rent out a car for like until it was time to go to stick. They don't have any stick shift cars. The only thing I could do was take lessons, which were like 2 hour, 3 hour lessons every 2 days or 2, 3 days. And then I was working with my friend who had a stick shift car, and he was taking me around parking lots, just teaching me the basics. So I mean, it's a lot harder like getting a hold of a stick shift as people think. They're like, oh, you can just why didn't you just like practice as much as you could? I was like, I
Yeah.
was doing that, but it also
I
gets
wanted to, I just don't have the
But
actual.
I also think like as a viewer, it's like very quick. It's very easy for a viewer to be like, well, why didn't they ask for directions, or why didn't they like practice? Like the whole day, it's a whole day of filming, and they condense it down into an hour and a half episodes. Like many times the teams do stop and ask for directions, but it's not shown. And many
Yeah.
times the teams do spend hours practicing stick shift, and it's like that one moment is dramatized to be like way longer than it actually is. So like Karishma did do a good job like learning how to drive stick shift. And I think like that moment was just like
I
it
think I
wasn't as
did. I'm
long
not
as
gonna lie, I did mess up. Of course, I fumbled a little, but I don't think it was what it didn't.
yeah.
It wasn't what took us out. It wasn't. I got the hang of it by the end. Like I was driving, as you
You
could see
drove,
throughout.
yeah, you got there.
Yes,
Yeah, I
she got
got
there.
there. I
And it
just
was
stumbled a
far
little.
too. We went like if you saw on the map, we went all the way across, like all the way across back and forth for both challenges. So it wasn't like it was a quick ride. Like we drove far. Like it was a far drive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, was there anything else we didn't see? You know, like you just said, like, you know, working with other teams, it wasn't part of the edit. So was there anything else you can think of, or like just anything like fun and like silly that you wish had made the cut?
We had so many of those moments. Oh my
So many.
gosh.
She had a
Um,
Bedazzled fan, and there was one episode where we're sitting in the car. It was in Colombia. We're sitting in the car, and I was fanning her with Bedazzled fan, and it wasn't shown.
it wasn't shown. I thought that was really iconic. I was like, oh, they'll definitely show that. It was, yeah, I was in the car because that's before I took the challenge, the Who's Feeling Artsy challenge, and doing the memorization and the puzzle and the location. But yeah, was suffering from like heat exhaustion because we had just danced. We were out in the sun, and I was like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I think I'm about to pass out. I was so dehydrated too. And Kishori's just like fanning me in the car, and I'm like laying in her lap, and it was so
So
funny.
funny.
And I
So
still have my
funny.
bedazzled fan, and I had a matching bedazzled compass. So we had some
We
iconic
need the
moments.
deleted scenes. I don't know.
Yeah,
We
that
do
would be
You
really
need
didn't make
one.
a jump
fun.
rope this time, so that's why you didn't make that.
That would be so fun.
Yeah, a bedazzled jump rope next time. So,
Yes, yes, for sure.
well, it was great watching you guys. Sad to see you guys go. And I hope you get over your skateboard trauma soon.
Thank you so much. It was
Thank
so
you
nice
so much.
talking to you.
Have a
So
good
nice
one.
meeting you. Have a
Bye.
good one. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.